Are you living your plan A? What is your plan A? What was your plan A? And if you're not living your plan A, why aren't you living your plan A? You know? And the reason why I asked that question is because someone asked me just yesterday, we're talking about business and just life in general. And I had mentioned to them that, yeah, I'm actively living my plan A, and they said to me, but, what you're doing is very incredible and blah, blah, blah. And I said, but what was your plan B? And I remember very clearly, and I've told this story before, I was asked that question before, what's your plan B? And my immediate response was, my plan B is to make plan A work. Okay? And I see so many people living their plan B, C, D, doing everything but living plan A. But ask yourself that question, what was your plan A before you allowed everything and everyone in life to convince you of a lesser plan? And yes, plan B is a lesser plan. Plan B robs you of satisfaction. Why? Because you didn't want it to start with. That's why it's plan B. Plan B takes energy, focus, effort. All that energy, focus, and effort has to be applied to your plan A to make your plan A work. Plan B sucks. That's why it's your plan B. It was, if all else fails, I guess I'll do this. That's not how you want to live your life. Plan B robs you of the opportunity to live plan A. Period. What was your plan A? Why aren't you living your plan A? A lot of people aren't living their plan A because they don't want to risk. They don't want to take the risk. And the future does belong to the risk takers, period. The future belongs to the people who are willing to lay it all on the line, to stretch out. One of the most interesting quotes I saw, and it makes me chuckle every time, because the first time I saw it, I had to read it a couple of times, because it was so profound, yet so simple. Simple quote, you can't steal second with your foot on first. Everybody in life, most people in life, are searching for a whole bunch of guarantees. There is no guarantee in life. Even when you're standing squarely or with your foot on first, you will still get thrown out if you stay there too long. The people who are in control of their lives are the ones who decide when to move and how fast. You can't steal second with your foot on first. Everybody's looking for a guarantee. Guarantees don't exist. Everybody's looking for a safe, it's a safe, it's a good, this is a safe. Doesn't work. And in our world today, don't get me wrong, everybody's different, I guess, and people have different goals for themselves. But for me, I found one of the greatest risks in the world was taking all my skills and talents and putting it to work for someone else for 40 or 50 years, hoping that they would take care of me when I get old. I found that to be one of the greatest risks of all. And I said to myself, it doesn't matter how many times I have to fail. It doesn't matter how many times I have to try and retool. I want to be the one that dictates that. And yes, that's gonna require mine taking some risk. That's gonna require mine building some things. But I know for a fact, if I take the risk and if I build, I can get further in 5 years than most people can get in 20. That's the nature of a risk taker. Okay? We all had a plan A. We all had a dream. We all had a goal. Why aren't you living that? Look at all the skills, the talents, and everything that you have. Are you bringing all those things to bear for yourself? Or are you playing a lesser role because you're too scared to take the risk? You're too scared to actually realize the actual potential that you have. You're unwilling to put yourself out there. What's the worst that happens? You fail? Newsflash. Every single person who is successful at anything has had to fail at many things, including that thing that they're successful at in most cases. As a matter of fact, it's the failures that teach you. So listen, fail often, fail first, because that's how you learn, that's how you grow, and that's how you get to the place where you want to be. All right? Anything new, I can tell you that's for a fact, anything new is going to come with failures. It's going to come with mistakes. It's going to come with letdowns. You're going to get thrown out a couple times. You're going to be in a squeeze a couple of times. But every time you get thrown out, every time you get in a squeeze, you learn what not to do. But as long as you're carrying around that plan B, the moment things get tough, guess what happens? You abandon your original plan. And when you abandon your original plan, guess what happens? You wind up living your lesser plan. And some of the people who are skilled at it, guess what? They convince themselves for a while that they're okay. Here's the problem with convincing yourself that you're okay with your plan B. Is at some point in time in your life, and it's usually when you run out of options, when you run out of, vigor and vinegar, when you can no longer do, is when you actually take inventory of where you are versus where you want to be. When you see that person who is living the exact same lifestyle, doing the exact same thing, and succeeded at the exact same plan A that you had, and here's the kicker, when you actually know for a fact that they weren't as talented, weren't as good, had the same obstacles if not more, but all they did was stick to it. That's a hit. And usually for a lot of people it's a hit they can't recover from. Because I hear people, I should have stuck to it. But I had to do this and I had to do that. And imagine looking back on your entire life and feeling like knowing like, I could have done better. That's not a good feeling. I've hung around a lot of older people and I've seen that look. That I could have done better, I should have done better, I should have tried harder. Look, if only I would have tried. I heard that interesting story that Denzel told about the man laying on his deathbed and all his dreams, all his ideas were standing around the bed and they were mad at him. And he asked, why are you mad? He says, because you didn't bring us to life. And now we have to die with you. Think about all the dreams, all the plans, all the things that you could bring, that you can still bring to life. Because you see, the beauty of life, I always told you guys, the beauty of life, the beauty of a man, the beauty of a person is that we have certain skills, talents, abilities that can live much longer than we have. All right? We can look at the lives of many people that we talk about today, right? That they've been dead now for decades, yet they live on. Why? Because they risked and they took their plan A and they brought it to life. They planted it in us. That's where we live. We don't live in this world. We live in people. The good that we do, the dreams that we have, the talents that we have, the visions that we have, the capacities that we have. We take that dream, those talents, those capacities, and we live it in other people. We plant it in other people, and people turn around and water it and seed it and continue planting it. You are doing what you do today because somebody lived their plan A and took the seeds, the fruit from their plan A, and scattered it amongst the world. We can name them. Okay? We can name them. The Bob Marleys, the Muhammad Alis, the Malcolm X's, the the Amelia Earharts, the Jesse Owens, all these people didn't have an easy route, but they stuck to plan A. They grinded it out, okay? They stuck with it day in, day out. They understood that in order for them to live longer, they had to do more with the life that they had. Because even when their life ended, a lot of them had grown bigger in stature. Why? Because I always tell you guys about the value of a man. The value of a man is not what you give people monetarily. It's what you plant in people. It's what you plant into the world. Maya Angelou, exactly. It's what you plant into the world. It's what you inspire other people to do. You can't do that living Plan B. Plan B is less of you. Plan B is not who you are. Plan B is what you've settled for. What is your Plan A and why are you not living it? Do you want to be forgotten the moment you die? Because that is a wasted life. Life is not about buying trinkets and things like that. Life is not about owning stuff. All that stuff, gone. The moment you die, what's not gone is the life you built, the life you created, the things you planted in yourself, in other people, in the people around you, in the world. Who did you inspire? And sometimes, guess what? Sometimes we may never even know your name, but you might have inspired that Maya Angelou. You might have inspired that Jesse Owens. You might have inspired that whoever it is. And it's through them that you live. Somewhere in the corner of the world, somebody whispers your name. It's because of you that person, and therefore you continue to live. What is your Plan A? And why aren't you living it? Because I can tell you what, living Plan A is awesome. Exactly. Legacy. Legacy ain't about money. The money can be taken, the money can be burned. A lot of times I see people who, one of the worst things that they can do is to leave their children money. But when you leave your children and when you leave the world a legacy, right, that's different. You don't have to worry about your children carrying on your legacy if your legacy is big enough and good enough. You got to worry about that. Don't burden your kids with that. I don't burden my kids with stuff like that. I don't care about that. If they want to follow my footsteps, they will. What I do is, my goal is to make my legacy big enough, to make my name big enough, to make the things that I stand for big enough, to inspire enough people that my kids don't have to carry that. Other people will do so. And maybe I will never be known across the world, but guess what? I will inspire somebody who might inspire somebody who will be that change that I wanted to see. But it never happens if I am not living my Plan A. And why are you not living yours? Why not? Why not? Think about it. You've let the world convince you. You're living your circumstances. You think it's going to be easy to just get out there and just go against the grain and actually live the life you want. The world doesn't make it easy. The world does not make it easy to stick to your Plan A. Okay? There will always be things that you will doubt. You know? You wouldn't be depressed if you were living your Plan A. You won't be anxious if you're living your Plan A. All those things are things that ail the people who are stuck. Right? But your Plan A does require every single ounce of your energy, your focus, your time, your passion. You can't waste any of that on your what ifs and your plan B. You got to go all in. You know, one of my favorite, I saw this movie. And when I watch movies, just FYI, I look for lessons in movies. Movies are entertaining, okay, but movies tell you a lot about life. And one of my favorite movies is The Dark Knight Rises. You remember with Bane? I think he was the best Batman villain, you know. But when they took the, you know, Christian Bale was supposedly Batman, and they put him in the prison that was in the pit, and you know he had to make that jump to get out of the pit, and he tried to make the jump many a times. You know, he would have his, you know, safety rope, and he would have all his stuff that he, you know, that he would need to protect himself in case he failed, right? And every time he tried to jump, he didn't make it, right? And he asked the guy in the prison, said, the person that jumped, how did they get out? He says, because they had no plans of coming back. And he understood what that meant. So the next time he went for that jump, there was no safety rope. You see, with that safety rope, he had to brace himself and jump in a certain way so the rope wouldn't get in his way. With the safety rope, he was jumping in a certain way so that when he missed, that it would catch him in a way that was comfortable. With the safety rope, you know, he had to hold himself in a certain way, right, to ensure that rope also had a weight to it. When he made the jump that time, he took the rope off, no weight. No adjusting, because that safety weight is like your plan B. In order to carry that plan B, that plan B takes space. It weighs. You have to prop yourself a certain way so that when you're prosecuting your plan A, if you fail, you can fall perfectly into your plan B. Without plan B, guess what? Everything goes towards the goal, all the energy. And he backed up and he jumped and he made it by the skin of his teeth. But that's what it took. It took him dropping that plan A. It took him putting down that rope. That is what your plan B does to you. And that's what dropping your plan E will do for you. Because all your focus now has to go towards that plan A. It's either you make it or you don't. And when you fall and you fail, trust me, there's tons of time to come up with a plan B. But a lot of times, guess what? All you're going to do is when you fall down, you're just going to retool and go back to plan A if you're really serious about it. Stop holding on to that plan B. It's plan B for a reason. You don't want it. You never did. That's why it's plan B. What is your plan A? Why aren't you ready? When are you going to start? Because believe it or not, you don't have infinite amount of time. Okay? You do not. Your plan A expires. Don't let the world fool you. Okay? Your plan A expires. And if you don't have a plan A, you need to find one. What do you really want to do? Who are you really? What is the impact you want to have on this world? Or are you just going to pass through and nobody's going to know? You're not going to make a difference. What value do you bring? Look around you, the people around you. How have you made them better? How do you plan on doing that? How do you plan on improving their lives? Do you? Or are you just going to be a taker and take and suck away, use up? Be a consumer of life, but not somebody that feeds life into people. Because once again, if you're that type of person, as soon as you die, you're gone. That's it. You're not missed. If your presence is of no value, your absence will be of no consequence. Do you want to be that person? I don't want my absence to be of no consequence. I want the fact that I was here to be celebrated. I want it to be of value. I want to live on in the people that I meet, the people that I touch, the people that I talk to, the people that I encountered, the people that heard my voice. I want somebody else to be able to repeat the things that I say and live the life. That's why I live by example. That is my plan A. And luckily for me, I'm seeing my plan A come to life. I see different people who have benefited from knowing me, who have benefited from listening, from following. But you can't do that if you're not being yourself. You cannot do that if you're not pursuing your plan A, which is the best of you. Plan B is not the best of you. Once again, that's why it's plan B. All right? What is your plan A? Why are you not living it? When are you going to start?